When Tony Blair stood in front of a grief-stricken nation on August 31, 1997 and described Diana as the people's princess, he gave poignant expression to the unique place she holds in the public's affection. The shocking news: she had died, aged just 36, after the car crash in Paris disgorged an unprecedented outpouring of public mourning, which culminated in the sea of tributes left outside Kensington Palace. In her relatively short tenure as a public figure, the Princess of Wales truly captured the nation's heart, not only with her wit, grace and poise, but also her vulnerability and her bravery. She was not only a princess and a national figurehead, she was also someone who challenged social taboos with her gentle compassion and used her profile to highlight unfashionable causes. The engagement interview: Diana Spencer emerged fully into public view as an elegant and mild-mannered 19-year-old nursery worker in February 1981 after she accepted Prince Charles's proposal. Soon after the engagement was announced, the newly betrothed couple gave an interview to ITV. The youthful pair were charmingly awkward as they discussed their romance, and Charles was filmed affectionately stroking her hand at points. But the interview took an insensitive turn when the journalist asked the couple how they felt about each other, adding, "I suppose, in love?" Diana replied, "Of course," before Charles indelicately added, "Whatever in love means." Diana let out a stilted giggle, but her face betrayed her true wounded feelings. She later confided that the remark had left her traumatized. However, her grace in that first interview, coupled with the public indignity she suffered, immediately endeared her to the nation. Wedding of the century: Charles and Diana were wed in July 1981 at St. Paul's Cathedral in what was billed as the wedding of the century. She looked every inch the princess in an emmanuel dress with a 25-feet train. As the largest ever worldwide audience of 750 million people tuned in across the globe. Yet amongst all the regal pomp and pageantry, Diana, who had just turned 20, betrayed her human side as her nerves showed through. During her vows she mixed up her groom's names, calling him Philip Charles Arthur George instead of Charles Philip. A hands-on mother. Soon after the wedding, Charles and Diana announced they were expecting their first child. William was born on June 21, 1982, and then Harry followed on September 15, 1984. Diana yet again won over the public with her down-to-earth approach to raising her children. She chose their schools and clothing and insisted on taking them to school when she was not busy with royal duties. Combating AIDS and HIV misconceptions. In the mid-1980s, the AIDS epidemic was at its peak and misconceptions about the disease were rife. One of the most prevalent was that it could be contracted via person-to-person contact. In 1987, Diana opened the UK's first dedicated HIV and AIDS unit at London Middlesex Hospital, and then in front of the camera she took the hand of a man suffering from HIV. With one powerful gesture of compassion, she helped dispel a cruel myth surrounding the disease and shifted public perception of sufferers. Combating AIDS and HIV misconceptions. In the mid-1980s, the AIDS epidemic was at its peak and misconceptions about the disease were rife. One of the most prevalent was that it could be contracted via person-to-person contact. In 1987, Diana opened the UK's first dedicated HIV and AIDS unit at London Middlesex Hospital, and then in front of the camera she took the hand of a man suffering from HIV. With one powerful gesture of compassion, she helped dispel a cruel myth surrounding the disease and shifted public perception of sufferers. Divorce and the Panorama interview. By the late 1980s, it was public knowledge that Charles and Diana were living separate lives. In December 1992, Prime Minister John Major confirmed the split by announcing the couple's amicable separation. Then in November 1995, she gave a famous interview to the BBC's Panorama in which she bore her soul to the nation. In the candid exchange, she admitted she'd struggled to cope with the strains of the recent years and had even been driven to self-harm. But she also displayed her cutting wit. When asked by Martin Bashir about Charles's affair with Camilla Parker Bowles, Diana retorted, "Well, there were three of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." Campaign to end landmines. In January 1997, Diana visited Angola, which had been left littered with landmines after 30 years of civil war. Diana spearheaded the campaign to end landmines by endorsing the Red Cross plan for a global ban. She then took the incredibly brave decision to walk through a cleared path through a live minefield. The photos of Diana risking her life to highlight the plight of others have become the iconic and enduring images of the woman who truly was the people's princess.